In the headlines, a man on the Twin Counties top 10 most wanted list is finally behind bars. A local man may not see justice served after he commits suicide in jail this week. A convicted felon is back in jail, and police need your help in identifying a possible theft suspect. That's in today's crime report. We'll also have some statistics that show the real Twin County community. These stories and more coming up on NewsBreak starting now.
From WHIG-TV, this is NewsBreak 31. Now, here's Marie Torres.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to WHIG-TV Newsbreak, your voice in the community. I'm Marie Torres. A man on the Twin Counties top 10 most wanted list is finally behind bars. Rocky Mount police say they arrested 18-year-old Shaquem Avent this week. He now sits in Edgecombe County Jail under a $30,000 secured bond. Avent was identified as a suspect in 3 breaking and entering cases at 1724 Vernon Road, 101 Faith Court, and 124 Faith Court. He is also charged with damage to property in a case that occurred at 1726 Vernon Road. Police say these cases occurred back in December. A local man may not see justice served as he commits suicide in jail this week. Authorities say the body of 21-year-old Alonzo Jamal Hunter was found in his cell shortly after 2:30 Tuesday afternoon. It's believed he hung himself. Hunter was jailed over the weekend after he allegedly killed 19-year-old Zebulon man Jonathan Trevon Smith. Smith was sitting in his car outside his Zebulon home when a stray bullet struck him in the head. It said Hunter and another suspect, 19-year-old Jamia Gabrielle Beckwith, were involved in an altercation when Hunter pulled out a gun and began firing. Both Hunter and Beckwith were charged with first-degree murder. 3 months of investigating, and Wilson authorities believe they finally have their man. Wilson County Sheriff's Office says 44-year-old Stephen Dale Nairn of Middlesex allegedly went to great lengths and heights to steal copper from electrical power lines and cellular telephone towers. According to Sheriff Calvin Woodard, the value of copper has made it a prime target for criminals. Nairn is charged with 27 counts of felony larceny in addition to driving while impaired after he was stopped in late January by Highway Patrol. Nairn, who already has an extensive criminal background that includes assault with a deadly weapon and assault on a police officer, was placed in Wilson County Jail with a secured bond of more than $200,000. A convicted felon is back in jail. According to Rocky Mount Police this week, they say they've detained 35-year-old DeAndre Christopher Fentress. Fentress was stopped by police Monday afternoon on the 400 block of Raleigh Road. Upon further investigation of the stop, Fentress was charged with carrying a concealed weapon by a felon, possession of a firearm by a felon, and possession of a stolen firearm. He was issued a $20,000 secured bond and was taken to Nash County Jail. And can you identify this suspect? The man pictured here is a person of interest in a larceny of malt beverages that occurred on Tuesday at the Wilco Hess located at 737 English Road. If you can identify this person of interest, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 252-977-1111. In other news, area leaders and members of the community received an eye-opener Wednesday night about the status of our economy and a look at where we're headed. The city of Rocky Mount brought in Dr. James Johnson Jr. of UNC Chapel Hill's Keenan Flagler Business School to reveal causes and consequences of growing inequality in our area, specifically to socially and economically disadvantaged youth, entrepreneurial approaches to poverty alleviation, job creation, and community development. Before a crowd inside of the Imperial Center's auditorium last night, here's some of what Johnson said about the importance of investing into young talent.
Less than a month ago, and the community was trying to make a decision of whether or not they were going to raise taxes to improve education in the local community. and a group of 1,000 people walked into the meeting called the Will of the People and shut the whole meeting down. Basically, they were arguing, we don't see the value of education because we're all empty nesters and we don't have a dog in that fight. The answer is, that's the wrong answer, because you do have a dog in the fight. If you're an aging empty nester, who's the next generation of people that are going to take care of your old butt? You need that talent to propel you in the years ahead, and so radically different skills.
Also revealed that the Twin County area is growing up by 2.5% and that the Hispanic community is the driving force to this growth. There is a decline of people ages 25 to 44 by 14.9%, while there's a growth of older adults, meaning that there are 26 seniors or children to every working age person, which carries a huge burden on those able to work. According to Johnson, Edgecombe County had the lowest life expectancy rate in the nation, with the age of 70 years old. Here are some factors Johnson says is driving down the overall health in this area.
Smoking, obesity, binge drinking, and sexually transmitted diseases, teen births, all high. 29% of children obese before they reach kindergarten. Life expectancy at birth, lowest for Edgecombe County in the state. The cost of unhealthy behaviors in Edgecombe County is $84 million annually. In Nash County, it's $149 million annually. Okay. And if these folk were to make it to their retirement years, the cost of unhealthy behaviors would be $1.6 billion annually in Edgecombe and $2.5 billion annually in Nash.
Overall, Johnson says there are huge racial disparities between blacks and whites who live in our community in health, education, and other economic factors. He did give some rays of hope in how we could rebuild our weaknesses as a community and spoke to us about the potential we have.
2, go.
All right, if you would tell us the true potential that you feel is here and capable in this area.
I think the region has enormous potential, and I think the potential is rooted in the people of the region and its comparative advantage in the U.S. marketplace. I think it's a strategic location at the intersection of I-64, I-95, which roughly halfway between Florida and New York, 60% of the population within an 8-hour commuting distance is here. It's a strategic location. It also has a very unique history, an entrepreneurial orientation. You had lots of companies have their start in this region. Lots of leaders came from this community, and so how do you leverage both that history and bridge the gap and overcome some of the legacies of sort of inequality, if you will, across the racial divide, across the tracks between Edgecombe and Nash County, and the enormous disparities that exist in this community. Those problems are people-oriented problems, and it's going to require leadership to solve them. And it's not just they won't be solved by one community talking about them and the other communities embracing an ostrich strategy of putting their heads in the sand. It's going to require collective kind of wisdom, creating a core set of values that say this community, this region is valuable. We value our people. They're our greatest asset. And when we fix the people problem, I think the economic development problems will solve themselves.
All right. Thank you very much.
Quite welcome.
Mayor of Rocky Mount David Combs says he is taking Johnson's advice and bringing the community together to create a unified identity for the Twin Counties that would attract outside businesses and help area citizens have a pride for where they live. You can see the entire presentation of this throughout this week right here on WHIG TV. When we return, NewsBreak is highlighting those who are making a difference in our community. Stay tuned for our Leaders of Today segment celebrating Black History Month, and we have more facts about those who have made an impact in our nation. Stay with us. Here are your Black History facts. The first psychology department in the U.S. was established by educator and civil rights leader W.E.B. Du Bois. In 1980, singer and performer Michael Jackson secured the highest royalty rate in the music industry, 37% of the album's profit.
You waited patiently. Now it's time. Clearance time at Davenport Honda in Rocky Mount. Hundreds of brand new Hondas, all tagged with the year's lowest prices, with savings up to $6,000 and a lifetime warranty on every vehicle. But hurry, because at Davenport Honda, these deals are the one thing that won't last forever. Davenport Honda in Rocky Mount, your dealership for life.
The Country Inn & Suites is your home away from home with a staff that always treats you as family. If you or your church or company has visitors, give them a great Rocky Mount welcome with a special discount on their overnight or extended stay. Not only is the Country Inn & Suites a comfortable place, we'll spoil them with fresh cookies and complimentary breakfast. We are filled with luxuries like an indoor pool, fitness center, and a guest laundry. The Business Center includes a boardroom, connection to high-speed internet, and catering for meetings is always available. Call me, Donna Chavis, at 252-442-0500 for a tour and or to set up your corporate rate. You're always welcome as family in the country. Country Inn & Suites, Rocky Mount.
Welcome back to WHIG TV Newsbreak. I'm Marie Torres. For the remainder of the month, we will be highlighting those African Americans in our community who have and are still continuing to make a difference. This week's spotlight is our leaders of today. In our leaders of today is none other than Rocky Mount Chief of Police John Manley. John Manley Jr. is a native of Littleton, North Carolina, and is a resident of Rocky Mount. He is married to Evelyn Bell. He has a stepdaughter, Anita, with two grandchildren, Brian and Javelle. He's a member of Thorns Chapel Missionary Baptist Church and is the youth coordinator and Sunday school teacher. Manley, who has been the chief of police for Rocky Mount since 2004, is the first African American to hold this position in the department's history. He has 30 years of law enforcement experience and has worked in numerous capacities in the department before becoming chief of police. He was the first person to skip a promoted rank within the department's history to obtain the position of captain. Manley received his Bachelor's of Arts degree in criminal justice from Shaw University in 1996 and his master's degree in public administration from Central Michigan University in 1998. Some of his community involvements and accolades include his membership in the Rocky Mount Kiwanis Club, the Unity Lodge number 64 of Prince Hall Masons, and he's a lifelong member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Some of his attributes, he says, he gives to God and attributes those to good family values, perseverance, and scholarship. In his own words, here is Chief John Manley discussing the issues we see today and his hopes for tomorrow.
Well, certainly we still face today with a high unemployment rate. It's not just here in our communities, all over this country. We also see a great economic divide between the have and have-nots. I think we're probably, to some extent, depends on where you are, but if you look at the total picture, there are a lot of people hurting that are out of jobs, do not have jobs, either underemployed, not only just underemployed as well as unemployed. And that sends a lot of desperation through the community. Having a lot of people, again, just do not have a lot of hope because some have lost homes. Those things are pretty rough at this particular time. You continue seeing prices escalate on things that people need, the basic needs. And so that is pretty devastating when you think about the number of people that really want to work and do not have a good livable wage or have an income at all. So that's a major issue that this community faces. Is also a major issue that's been faced across this country. In Rocky Mountain in particular, beyond that, so those of us that are working, we got to find as many ways as we possibly can to reach out to those that are in need, to try to make sure our nonprofits organizations are funded. If we can't provide the funding, at least provide time for them, because people are in dire need, skill sets. So if you don't have the money, perhaps you may have the time to commit. So that's one of the things I see a lot of. And another big piece for our region, really, and probably some may not think of it this way, when we start talking about working together, you're not just talking about working together for the betterment of just Rocky Mount or betterment of a particular race group. This whole region, Nash and Edgecombe County, every little city in the Nash and Edgecombe County must realize and come to face the point that we all are in this together. My hope is again, that a lot of the things that continue to divide us in this community, that those things be put aside, that people begin to appreciate each other for the various differences, and to realize that no, not one of us just have the answer by ourselves, but as all of us together, we can do that.
Interesting fact we'd like to point out is that Chief Manley was inducted into Shaw University's Hall of Fame. We congratulate Chief Manley for his many achievements and thank him for his work in our community. Again, our leader of today is Chief John Manley. After the break, we'll have more in sports, and will the wintry weather last? Stay with us. American performer Josephine Baker left to France. She famously smuggled military intelligence to French allies during World War II. She did this by pinning secrets inside her dress, as well as writing them in invisible ink on her sheet music. In 1959, Ella Fitzgerald became the first African-American woman to earn a Grammy Award. She won 5 awards that year, including an award for Best Jazz Soloist and one for Best Female Pop Vocalist.
You waited patiently. Now it's time. Clearance time at Davenport Honda in Rocky Mount. Hundreds of brand new Hondas, all tagged with a year's lowest prices, with savings up to $6,000 and a lifetime warranty on every vehicle. But hurry, because at Davenport Honda, these deals are the one thing that won't last forever. Davenport Honda in Rocky Mount, your dealership for life.
When it's happening to you, you'll hear from us. WHIG TV NewsBreak is reporting on the news, issues, and stories that matter to you. Call us at 252-885-1814. Email us at marie.whigtv@gmail.com or check us streaming live at whigtv.com. We're your voice, ready to bring you the news.
The Country Inn & Suites is your home away from home, with a staff that always treats you as family. If you or your church or company has visitors, give them a great Rocky Mount welcome with a special discount on their overnight or extended stay. Not only is the Country Inn & Suites a comfortable place, we'll spoil them with fresh cookies and complimentary breakfast. We are filled with luxuries like an indoor pool, fitness center, and a guest laundry. The business center includes a boardroom, connection to high-speed internet, and catering for meetings is always available. Call me, Donna Chavis, at 252-442-0500 for a tour and or to set up your corporate rate. You're always welcome as family in the Country Inn & Suites, Rocky Mount.
Thanks for staying tuned. Now for a look at weather, here's WHIG TV meteorologist Fred Holdsworth. Fred?
And time to take a look at our
weather, and we had some snow this morning, and that will be moving on off the coast. And by the time we get into the nighttime hours, we'll have a clear sky, but quite cold temperatures as high pressure builds in from the west. This will drop our low temperatures into the teens. Let's take a look at our, our forecast map, and we'll see what's going on. The snow will be moving on out of here, and later on this afternoon will be located right along the coast. We'll have rain to the south associated with a frontal boundary over central Florida, low pressure forming along this boundary, moving on out to sea, and this should be far enough south to keep the precipitation out of our area. As we look farther to the north, snow over western New York, some of it quite heavy. This snow will extend all the way from Quebec province westward across the lakes and then back into the northern Pennsylvania right through here. As we go farther west, we see high pressure in control over northern Texas, and this is giving the Midwest a pretty good day today, although a little bit on the cool side. And then as we go a little farther to the west, we see a warm front over western Canada and snow behind that frontal boundary, most of that snow up in Canada. Rain along the Pacific coast as high pressure is in control over the southern Rockies. Well, let's take a look now at our forecast for today. Clearing with a high of 41, north wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, clear with a low of 18, winds will be calm. Friday, sunny with a high of 49 and a light wind. Friday night, clear with a low of 24, winds will be calm. Saturday, sunny with a high of 53, west wind at 7. Saturday night, clear with a low of 27. Sunday, sunny with a high of 60. Sunday night, clear, 36 degrees for the low. And for Monday, sunny with a high of 63 and a low Monday night of 37. Our high temperature yesterday, 46 degrees. Our low this morning was 32. And that's a look at your Rocky Mount weather. Now back to you.
All right. Thanks, Fred. Some good weather ahead for us this weekend.
Absolutely.
We have with us now Edward Green, and he's bringing us our sports report. Tell us what's going on in sports this week.
Well, as Fred said, we had a little bit of snow last night, but it wasn't enough to derail those schools. They still were able to get in and get their practices in as we kind of hit the stretch run of the season. Earlier this season, we profiled the boys basketball team at Rocky Mount early in its attempt to defend its state championship. But now, as conference play draws to a close, it is actually the Griffins girl team that is 20-2 overall and undefeated in conference play, with just one game left before the Big East tournament. Now, I spoke to head coach Pamela Gainey this week at practice about how her young team has performed so well.
All right, we're here with Coach Gainey, the coach of the Rocky Mount girls basketball team, and you guys are off to a really good start this year. Can you tell us about how your team's done so far?
Well, we've just been trying to put things together day by day, and some days are better than others. Some days things are going well. Some days they don't look so well, but the girls are continuing to work hard, and that's what we're expecting.
You guys have been off to a great start this year, almost towards the end of the Big East Conference tournament coming up. The two losses you have suffered this year were to South Central. Were you able to learn anything from those games that helped you when you got into conference play?
Yes, we did. We learned some things, and we were able to make some adjustments. And I'm thinking that those are some of the things that may have helped us when we got into close ball games.
Obviously, regular season's wrapping up here for conference play. You guys are 9-0 in conference, and you have a chance to run the table and go 10-0 this Friday night. What would that mean for your squad?
I think it would be a confidence booster. A lot of the kids are inexperienced. A lot of the ones that are playing, and they're kind of feeling their way along. And I think it would boost their confidence tremendously.
Going forward, what's one thing you think your team needs to improve on in order to make a deep run in the state playoffs?
We've just been telling them basically to stay mindful and just try to stay focused on what it is that we're doing at the time. Not letting your mind drift to who's in the crowd or other things of that nature. And just that's a sign of maturity, and that is definitely something we have to continue to work on.
Obviously, you still have one regular season game left, as well as the Big East Conference tournament. But of course, with such a great record, it's easy to start looking ahead towards the state playoffs. How far do you think your squad can go?
There's no telling. It depends on how much they have grown and how much they pay attention to detail.
And what's one thing your team has done well that maybe you didn't think you guys were going to be so great at the start of the year that's kind of surprised you a little bit?
I think at the end of the ball games, and we've had some close ones. I mean, people have really come prepared to play us and been able to put things together and make some runs at times, whereas I wasn't sure if we were experienced enough to do that in some of the positions.
And just some final thoughts on your game coming up Friday night, on what it's going to take to win and what your team's going to have to do to succeed.
Well, you know, anytime Rocky Mountain Northern get together, records don't matter. It's such a great rivalry. We've got to be focused. We've got to focus on what's between the 84 by 50 feet only. I mean, there are going to be several things that come up that would try to take your focus, but we've got to stay focused on what it is we're trying to do.
Coach Gainey, thank you so much for talking to us today.
All right, thank you for having me.
And the Rocky Mount girls survived Tuesday in their game at Southern Nash with a close 58-52 victory, and they look to run the table in conference play at home Friday night against Northern Nash. A team, Marie, that near the end of January lost to the Griffins by only 3 points. So it should be an exciting game at Rocky Mount High School Friday night.
All right, well, good. Well, we wish both teams best of luck.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, Edward.
Of course, Marie.
And thank you for watching NewsBreak today. Make sure you tune in next week as we continue to bring you news that's impacting our community. For WHIG TV, I'm Marie Torres. We'll see you next time.